Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. Is real estate investing passive? No. Not at all. And I'm going to prove it in this video, which is going to confuse a few people. Because people will say, the IRS calls it passive. You yourself are the lazy landlord. It took you less than 2 hours a month last year to make $204,000 in profit. How is real estate investing not passive? See the confusion? I see the question come up often. Is real estate investing passive? If you're selling a course, you might want to say that it's passive. You might want to show, look it, you can live where you want, you can travel anywhere you want. It takes about 2 hours a month to self-manage my 16 rentals that I retired on last year to make over $200,000. Of course it's passive. I'm going to talk about two categories. Here's the categories some people make the mistake with. Is real estate investing passive? Yes, the IRS calls real estate income passive income, but real estate investing is life-consuming. In order to be a successful real estate investor, in order to reach financial freedom, and I teach how people can do this, the average person can reach financial freedom in 10 years or less, even if you're not starting from the best position, and make work completely optional. There are 6 steps. Let me know how passive you think these steps are. 1, you need to learn how to save. Sounds pretty passive. Don't spend, right? No. Saving means to increase your income. This is over time. Learn a skill to become more attractive to your employer, to get a promotion, change companies for a bigger pay raise, develop and grow a side hustle. Look at all of the not passive ways we need to save. Second, we need to work on our credit score. This means you need to take action to improve your credit score. Increase your credit limits without increasing your spending to lower your credit utilization. Set up as many auto payments as possible so our bad memory isn't the reason our credit score takes a hit. We need to talk to a lender. So this is save, credit score, lender. We're on step 3 to find out what your options are. And your options in cases like mine are sometimes you need to move into an apartment and rent your house out for 2 years. How passive is moving so that you can rent your house out? The 4th step is learning a strategy, picking the strategy that's going to work in your market. This means you need to understand how many economic drivers are there, sources of tenants. What are the laws like in your market? Is there rent control? Does an eviction take a year or 2 weeks? This is not passive to learn the best market to invest in and what strategy works there. Michael Zuber talks about doing the work. It takes 60 to 90 days to learn average in your market. None of this is passive. This is real estate investing. So when we hear about passive income, remember that's rental income. That's not real estate investing. Even for the lazy person, where lazy is a powerful motivating force. This is the thing that made me want to do the first 5 years that are not passive. The next 5 years aren't even passive, but they are easier. After talking to a lender and developing our strategy and picking our market, now we need to go and talk to agents. I talk to at least 3 to set up my auto searches. I am an introvert, so I'm talking to a camera. I don't want to talk to people, but I had to talk to at least 3 agents at a time, right? So that at all times there's at least 3 agents with auto searches set up in my market, looking for the deals that I want to find. And if I can't find them, I need to then reevaluate step 4 and see if I need to pick a different strategy, which is what happened to me. I wanted to buy single family houses, live in them for a year or 2, then move out. Again, moving not passive. And do this for 10 years and have every other year buy a property. That would be 5 and 10 years. But in my area, single family houses didn't cash flow. I have still not seen one that does. So I switched to small multifamily. Changing strategies and learning the numbers, not passive. Sorry if this is sounding like a rant. I just had a few questions come in the last couple of weeks about how passive is real estate investing. So I'm being very clear here about how not passive real estate investing is. Make sure you remember those 3 words, real estate investing. It's 3 words, even though realtor only has 2 syllables. Some people need to take note on that. Think about how life-consuming it needs to be to learn this strategy. This is watching YouTube University, going to meetups, learning, studying, learning what the math is and how to calculate the yield on a rental property, taking the time to learn the rules and regulations in your area. How much notification do you need to give to do a rent increase? This matters if you're going to use the binder strategy, even if you're going to have your tenants ask you to raise the rent. After talking to your agents, now you need to actually do step 6, which is do the work. This is right out of one rental at a time. You need to actually run the numbers on deals. You need to keep educating yourself. You need to actually, eventually, once you learn your market, your strategy, and find the deals, make offers, follow through, schedule inspections, schedule appraisals, do all of these things over and over and over, about as not passive as it can possibly be. Your job is more passive than real estate investing. That's why the majority of people stay in their job, because humans as a species, even the hustle culture, is lazy. That's why they have to fight the lazy, and they say get up early, exercise more, take action. Lazy is a motivating factor to making work optional. And to make work optional, we need to do a lot of work. All the way back to step 1, look what it took to save. The simple concept, when you say I need to save money, people will say just stop spending. Increasing your income is the most important thing when it comes to figuring out how to save. So I want you to understand this very clearly. I'm going to use a phrase that applies to the first 5 years of, is real estate investing passive income? Okay. The beginning isn't passive income. It's not even income. For 2 years before buying my first house hack duplex, I saved, I worked overtime, I grew my side hustle, I increased my income, I spent less, I moved into an apartment and rented out my house. I didn't make any money. It was costing me more to live in my apartment than I was renting the house out for, and the house was rented poorly that first year because I didn't know what I was doing. The first few years are not passive income. They're probably not even going to be income. File that away in the caveman brain. That's the main reason so many people fail to launch. A lot of investors think, okay, I'm going to buy a rental property. Now, one rental at a time, who I follow and learned a lot from, says only buy cash flowing deals. That means, I'm going to have a deal. It's going to cash flow. I'm going to have cash flow day 1. The deal will cash flow day 1. How long did it take you to save the reserves, the closing costs, the immediate repairs, the money for the down payment? How long did that take? How long did it take to learn the market? How long did it take to filter through the deals to find the one that was worth pursuing? All of that time, months, days, years, not income, not passive income, because you weren't making any money yet. The first 5 years are not easy. The next 5 years won't be easy, but you can make them easier because you need to learn some skills. When you get those first few rental properties, this is where you learn the skills of how do you manage a handyman or a contractor, or do a rehab and realize that even after 10 years of investing, you're not going to do any more rehabs. This is your one and only. How do you handle tenant turnover? Does the flooring need replaced? Does it need paint? Do you need to replace the lights? How do the cabinets look? What is a tenant turnover? How do you list a property, right? So managing handymen and contractors is a skill. Tenant turnover, dealing with that is a skill. Listing your property is a skill. Screening tenants is a skill. Maintaining your property is a skill. Here's another sentence I want you to file away into that caveman brain. Remember, the first sentence was, in the beginning, it's not passive income, it's not even income. Here's a sentence that helps me when I'm learning how to do something. It takes longer to learn how to use a skill than it does to use the skill. An example of this is in my members only lives, where we look at a deal. Last Tuesday, after our live, we looked at a great deal in the members only live, and it took 30 to 45 minutes to go through the whole deal. The talking, the explaining of how the skill works, of looking at the deal, looking at the market, looking at the aspects of the property, things that are going to help limit tenant turnover, things that are going to increase or decrease expenses. All of those things took 30 to 45 minutes to talk it through. The decision looking at that property would have taken somewhere between 30 seconds and 5 minutes to make an offer, to get to the point of, because you know your market, You know the places to avoid. You know what you're looking for. You've already spent the time that wasn't passive income, it wasn't even income, to get that skill nailed down. To learn the skill, to teach the skill, takes longer than it does to use it. This is why when I talk about, and this is what I'll wrap up with, is real estate investing passive? Absolutely not. No, in this video I've proved it. It is life consuming to invest in real estate. I thought my brother was insane. He's still crazy. Womanizing, alcoholic, love him to death. Because he ran a tree service, worked 10 to 15 hours a day, and then he went and he purchased mobile homes and did the rehabs himself. So he used a home equity line of credit to buy the mobile home, then paid off the home equity line of credit with his tree service, did all the work himself. He's got all these craftsman skills. He knows what he's doing, but it would take him somewhere between 5 and 10 hours a day. So 10 to 15 hours a day in the tree service, 5 to 10 hours a day on his rentals. That's nuts. Until he got to 10. Paid off the last HELOC. Shut down the tree service. He was 50. His rentals are in place. Stabilized units, cash flowing, don't need repairs. He's still setting aside money for future repairs because that's going to happen. So for the last 8 years, he's traveled the world, done whatever he wanted, as passive as you can imagine. From anywhere he wants, he can manage his properties because he has the systems in place. I started teaching at a truck driving school around 2010, got demoted all the way down to the president of the company, was working 50 or 60 hours a week, was buying my rentals from the MLS, looking at deals, learning the numbers, studying my market, figuring out how to understand cash flow, learning how to find tenants, place tenants, screen tenants, manage the properties while I was working full-time, raising 3 kids as a single parent. None of that was passive. The first 5 years sucked. Not bad enough to not get started though, Frank. The next 5 years were easier, and then a little over the 10-year mark, when the passive income that comes in that is in place on stabilized properties that I don't have to find, I'll have systems in place to manage that take me less than 2 hours a month. I had over 4 times the cash flow coming in that I needed to work to earn, that I spend. I retired. Now it's taking me less than 2 hours a month to self-manage, closed on a new duplex, 18 rental units once these are done, to travel and go and do all of the things that I try to show in such a way that I'm saying, maybe you don't want my lifestyle, but if you invest in passively, unpassively, as non-passively as possible for 5 to 10 years, depending on your starting position and your end goals, you can have the life you want with the passive income that comes from, remember these 3 words. Real estate investing is not passive. Real estate ownership can be passive. This was a nice short, hopefully live stream here on my phone where I can almost see the chat, so I didn't answer any questions. If you want your questions answered, every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do live streams on a computer where I can see the chat, and I answer all questions. Until my next video, thank you for coming to my Dion Talk.